done, and like I said, it doesn't look all that rosy today, but it's still servicing. But to do that, you have to have some idea and a plan, and you heard a lot of the plan today of how they approach the repair projects. They even held off till they had a good handle on it. So that's what you kind of have to do. And, you know, on the concrete side, and I'm going to show you some of this, it's not uncommon on interstate, particularly in the Southwest where we're located. You may see pavements go 4 to 10 times the design traffic. Didn't take owners long to figure out that you just let concrete go. And if you've ever ridden in California where they didn't use dowel bars till 1995, they built their interstate system in the late 70s, they had some pretty horrendous faulting. They still got 30 and 40 years out of a lot of those pavements. With dowels, it would have gone a lot farther. And that's what's showing right here. And so you also heard about the traffic. Again, this is interstate type things, but the same thing happens in most places. We have a traffic design that we go in with, but the actual growth that occurs is oftentimes much higher. Okay, so how do you go about doing it? You heard about the pavement management system, you heard about the triggers, you heard about how they collected some of the data. Well, if you look around the state, this is state agencies, by the way. This is FHWA has a pavement preservation expert task group. So one of the questions we had on the rigid side was how do they manage concrete pavements? Because it was pretty obvious to many of us, and I'm an ex-DOT, ex-pavement management, so I'm preaching of my own sins, just so you understand that. I knew that in my state we didn't do that. You can see right here, that's one of the states that didn't have triggers. But we surveyed them, 38 states responded back. When you say, what's a trigger? We accepted almost any definition of a trigger. A lot of them use RIDE, lots of them use composite statistics. They're combining transverse cracking and RIDE, and what that really means overall, I'm not sure. But 40% weren't doing anything. And so then it gets really hard. You saw that pothole on the side of the road with a guy fishing. That's what some state agencies are actually still doing. So if you fast forward now, this is the SHARP 2 program. 2011 is the report. That's the guidelines for preservation of high traffic volume roadways. So after, remember, we've been 120 years on building concrete pavements, actually a little bit longer. I ought to be able to get up here and tell you exactly what to do, how long it's going to last, and all those things. Well, this is what they came up with. Notice here's the different treatments that they looked at, and here's the treatment life, and here's the pavement life extension. Now understand those could be mutually exclusive. I can go out and do a treatment, let's call it sealing, and I will seal that joint, and I'll go out and evaluate it every couple of years, and I'll say that silicone sealant lasted 8 years. Okay, I can determine that. The question is, did the pavement last any longer because you installed the silicone sealant? That's a completely different question. And the pavement preservation business has really focused on this. And if you'll also notice, this is 2011, but notice they're not giving you any answers for the pavement life extension. We know a whole lot more than what's reflected up here, so I don't want to make it sound as bleak as it is. But what I'm trying to do is reinforce back into how Douglas County went back and looked at all their different products. There is no right answer. The right answer is for your situation, so that's the point I'm trying to make here. So, another thing that was recently done, this is a little hard to see and I apologize, but what you have here, this is roughness on this scale, so it's increasing in this direction. This is IRI, not HRI, that you use here in Colorado. And this is different states. And what this is showing you is what their specs look like of how they incentivize contractors. Here's Colorado up here, so where you see this green bar, if I'm a contractor and I'm in that range, you're giving me a bonus. If I'm paving to this range, this is new construction, you're giving me 100% of my bid item. If I'm a higher level, then you're actually penalizing me. The point of this is, notice that each state is quite different than the others.